Life Audio.
Today on Talk About That, John gets invited by me to a gender reveal party for an insect and refuses to get his brain hacked by Elon Musk. Meanwhile, I think Abe Lincoln should have seen a dermatologist and tell you the history of the zipper. Plus a conversation about emotional maturity and the right way to change someone's mind. Today's episode is not sponsored by At Home Orthodontics. Brace yourself! But first, a word from our actual sponsor.
Welcome to Bantertown. It's John and Johnny, another episode, as it is every week, of Talk About That.
We've been pretty faithful.
You can set your dial, set your life, set your mind by
I think
the
it's interesting when
consistency.
you're listening to a football game and they say...
Don't touch that dial.
No, well, they say that, but they say the Volunteers have the ball first and 20, moving from left to right on your radio dial. They still say it, even though like people don't have a radio dial. Yeah. But it still makes you picture what direction they're...
Yeah. Do they ever say right to left?
I don't know.
Do they only say left to right?
Isn't Hebrew written right to left?
Yes.
Which is really fascinating to me.
Which means...
Like a Hebrew Bible would have been read right to left.
Correct.
On your radio dial.
Yeah. So which means we're doing it wrong.
Okay.
Or we're at least
doing it backwards.
Yeah. I bet the Hebrews...
We're backmasking the Bible.
I wonder if the Hebrews drove their cars on the right or the left side of the road.
Chariots. Hey, can I say something about your desk setup?
Okay.
If you're listening, you don't know this, but John has his computer 2 inches on this little rack mount thing off of his desk.
Yeah.
What is that about?
Well, one, it's about this.
Do you feel like you need to be more...
One, I can do this.
You can pivot it and swivel it?
Yeah, but two, it's only down because we're doing podcasts. Normally, it's much higher, but I don't want to block that screen right there. Do you have any other smart questions there, smart guy?
It just feels like you wanted your laptop to be a little bit higher than mine. Like you're the pharmacist. You know, the pharmacist is always a foot higher than the...
Johnny, if I was going to look down on you, it'd be from much higher than just a couple inches there. Like, it would be...
Fine.
Like, there's a mountain that separates us.
There is.
A great chasm.
Yes.
And you know my buddy, I should tell you, I was about to go see him soon. But he would say to me, when we were in high school, he would say, listen, John, if when we die...
Right.
I go to heaven and you go to hell. Mm-hmm. He said, chasm or no chasm, I'm bringing you a glass of water.
That's a very Abraham's bosom, Old Testament kind of joke.
It's every time I hear the word chasm, I think, chasm or no chasm?
Chasm or no chasm.
Guys, you can't do that. That's not biblical. He was just joking. So.
No, you can't get across the chasm.
But I appreciate the sentiment.
It's nice to say.
It's somebody wanted to
because he knows he'll never have to fulfill that.
Right.
Because he's hoping you'll be there, and also... If you can, it's like, oh, I didn't know the chasm was going to be that big. I wasn't given a map of the chasm. Chasm's a fun word, John.
It is.
I don't know. What else is going on? You had a car repair that I had to take you to pick up a car today.
Yeah. I just dropped another $800 on my daughter's car.
These cars break. I don't care what you say. These machines are not reliable.
They're not just staying well in perpetuity on their own. They get sick and they need a car doctor.
Well,
you know what I'm saying?
It's an old car though.
Well, it's old, but man,
now it's basically got all new parts.
New. Yeah, it's basically
good for you.
What I would like to be someday, because I feel like technology should move to the point that most of our major organs could just be replaced by something that was 3D printed.
Are you saying you want to be a cyborg?
I'm saying it'd be nice to have a new kidney or whatever that I didn't have to wait for forever, and someone else didn't have to die.
Keep
and all
drinking
the
that Mountain Dew. You'll get you a new kidney. Hey, let me say this.
Okay.
What do you think about the whole like Neuralink thing that's in the news about like people hacking their brains, and it's right around the corner. You could sign up for it or maybe be on the wait list. And you remember, they say it's going to be like the limitless pill. I mean, it's not going to be, but I'm saying that's how they're selling it. What if you could unlock the potential of your brain with this Neuralink implant?
I'd be afraid that once my brain went to 100%, it'd be very disappointing. Like, actually, your potential was not that great.
Yeah.
You're pretty much where you were.
Yeah.
In fact, we dialed you up just as much as possible, and nothing happened. We've never seen this before. Yeah, I don't know.
You have gotten an incredible amount out of this scrap. That's from Seinfeld. Okay, anyway, I just wonder because it's like, are they seeing what you're thinking? Are the people who are managing the Neuralink, are they able to...
No, it sounds like a scam to me.
It's Elon Musk.
Please. And it's time to go to our sponsor. I think. We don't do political things right now much on this podcast.
But you're saying, you probably don't want to sign up for Elon Musk to put
Elon Musk less than I trust you. I'll put it that way.
Okay, well, that's fair.
Yeah.
But you trust me a lot.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was taking a dig at you, but truthfully, yes, you're my best friend. Yeah, I think it would be...
Like, it's okay
I want to see a couple years of studies of what are the after effects of that.
Well, I'm saying, like, you're okay with... Human potential has obviously been kind of hacked in other ways, biohacking, as far as, like, we see now athletes breaking records every year because of new, advances in nutrition and advances in training, advances in gear.
Yeah.
And we're okay with that. And what these scientists are saying is, like, why not the human mind, John?
Yeah.
Why not let us, stay with me here, cut into your skull and implant this thing? Because now you'll be able to be like, you'll write a book every day, maybe. Like, what if you, John, think about the cash.
Oh, my gosh.
Think about the, probably wouldn't be that
if
much.
I wrote a book every day, there'd be that many more people not buying it. But here's the thing. Wouldn't it fundamentally alter the personality of, say, the man that your wife knows and the dad that your daughter knows?
Yes.
And, like...
You're limitless, and now they're still limited.
Right.
And they're like, I don't like this guy.
What if I'm just kind of a jerk then?
Well, you know it all. Yeah. More than I already am. I'm literally the actually guy as my complete personality.
You are. But I love it.
No. I'm saying that's you're saying I am that now?
We've built an entire podcast around it. Well, actually.
John, let me correct you there.
Do you play Connections?
No.
So the New York Times game, Connections.
Okay.
So it's like
this is not misconnections. That's a different thing in the New York Times.
Right.
That's like, I saw you at the bodega.
Yeah.
You were wearing a red carnation.
So it's like a game every night. Every day my wife and I would play.
Yeah.
Separately, like how many guesses, because you get 4 guesses, and if you mess up, then you lose it for the day. It's a new puzzle every day. But if I had that brain implant thing,
right,
there would be no like fun between us of, I did it in 2 chances. I had no chances left or whatever. Like I would just be like, I got it done again.
Well, I don't think the implant gives you all the knowledge in the world. I think it makes you, maybe it makes you less distracted. I don't know what it's supposed to do.
I wonder if it could emotionally regulate.
That would be something.
You know what I'm saying? Because I think
it could help people with ADD or something. Maybe?
I think the real problem in this world for all of us is not usually a capacity for intellectual growth.
Okay.
It is a capacity to manage the emotional self.
Right.
So that gets in the way then. If I'm spun out or I'm insecure or that I don't take the time to learn.
Yeah, that's true. And even like I'm not like a gigantic Dave Ramsey guy, but there was a time that I was, and I think one of the things he said is like personal finance is like 10% head knowledge and 90% behavior.
Yeah.
And I think that's true. Like you can know, most people know exactly what to do.
Right.
And they still want to go on vacation when they can't afford it. They still want to buy that purse they can't afford. They still want to do the ball game that they can't really manage, but they do it. They put it on a credit card.
I feel very seen right now.
Yeah.
Almost exposed.
So I think there's something to that. I mean, talk about head knowledge versus behavior. Like think about most behavioral therapists. They have issues themselves too. They know how to tell you how to manage your life, but many of them are divorced. You know what I'm saying? Like it's a lot. They're marriage counselors, and you go, tell me about No, we're not going to talk about me.
Well, but again, a good coach, it doesn't mean that they could go do what they're coaching you to do.
That's true.
Maybe
most good coaches,
could.
The best coaches in the NBA historically have been role players. Mm-hmm. They knew how to like be a spot up person, and they knew what it meant to sit on the end of the bench and be under. And most star players are terrible coaches because they have very little like capacity for empathy for a player that doesn't see the game the way they see it or can't do. Well, all you do is do a 360 and then dunk it. Like you're like, I'm 5'8".
Who's the coach for UConn women's basketball?
Gino.
I couldn't get his first name. I wanted to say Nico, but that's because we're in a little bit of a
don't get me started on the Nico
news cycle right now.
Yeah,
but
2 Nicos in the news. You know that, right? Because Nico is the GM for Dallas Mavericks. He traded away.
Yeah.
So fire Nico is everywhere now. Fire Nico, and then we fired Nico.
We did fire Nico.
Yeah.
And then we traded quarterbacks.
Right.
Literally got the UCLA guy who entered the portal because Nico came. Isn't that crazy? At any rate, I saw some video. I sent my daughter these videos and stuff, and he was talking, and he said to his players, he said, we have no, not even desire, we do not expect to coach your attitude or your effort.
Okay.
He said, at this stage, if you've made it here, we're not going to coach your attitude or your effort. That should already be there.
Oof.
And so we're going to coach basketball.
Yeah.
If you have an attitude, and he even said, I think I saw 2 videos. I think the algorithm is now following me. But he said there was some player, and she was like the 5-star, the big star, and he said she was having a bad attitude one game, so I benched her. And I told her, I was like, your attitude's not there, and you're not going to play. And he said, and I know that's easy. You would say it's easy for me to say because I have all these other stars in the team, and there's a point to be made there. He said, but here, that's going to be everything. And back to the point, like talent or intelligence or all those things. I mean, if I could have something implanted in my brain, it'd be the thing that would make me show up as my most regulated self. And I think that's what the gospel's doing, Johnny, by the way, is you're implanting that thing in your brain every day.
Some of y'all need to be renewing your minds.
Romans 12:2 says, don't be conformed, Johnny, to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. And so I think the idea of just being, it's funny. I have the myth, and you have the myth. I sent you this the other day.
Yeah.
That I have the, it said my form of mental illness, or my type, is the kind that believes that I could get all the correct information and communicate it accurately, and it will change everybody's mind.
Yeah.
And you and I are both like, man, that really hits home.
Yeah, because I do think that I am somebody who, if you give me the data, I'll at least ruminate on it, even if I go, oh, I hate that guy's right.
Yeah.
But I think there are people out there who they cannot, their minds won't be changed by correct information. Like I said, it's an emotional decision. If you come to a decision out of emotion, you can't use logic to get them out of it.
Right.
In general.
No.
That's a tough one.
And it's interesting because, so what do we really need? Do we need more knowledge? Do we need more talent? Or do we need more empathy or open-mindedness or willingness to learn? Or really, I mean, above all, Johnny, okay, I don't mean to give it away. There's going to be a series in a few weeks on this, but it's kind of one of the most famous scriptures of all time. So I'm not really giving it away. If you haven't read it by now, that's really on you.
Why don't you give it away now?
Give it away. Micah 6:8, I think.
Okay.
What does the Lord require of you, O mortal or O man, but to do justly, love mercy, and walk humbly? And if you really evaluated not only yourself, but everything you call Christian in this world by very 3 specific things. Now, I'm not saying there's not other things, but this is how God said it in the book of Micah. Justice, right? Mercy, but not just mercy, that you love it.
Yeah.
Like you're like, oh man, I got to show mercy. Like you love showing mercy. You want everybody to get mercy. And humility. Yeah. Justice, mercy, and humility. What if those were your only litmus test for your spiritual walk with Christ? I mean, dude, it's profound. I mean, that's such a simple thing. But like if it don't have humility, it's not following God. And if it's not just, meaning it's not, in my opinion, helping somebody, right, who can't help themselves or is being mistreated. And if it's not in a sense of loving the idea of mercy, of God's mercy for you to others, then, I mean, I just think I don't know, it's profound. I can't wait to speak on it. It's going to be a 3-week series that we're doing, so.
I'm gonna check that out.
You're going to watch it.
We call that a tease in radio.
Yeah.
John, I think it's time for us to hear from a few of our fine sponsors. Help us keep the lights on here and talk about that.
And we're back. It reminded me when you said that.
About the sponsors?
About the sponsors. No, not about the sponsors.
Okay.
But I think I'm going to change. I'm going to change the quote of the day here before we get there.
Are you really?
But I have to find it real fast.
You're calling an Audible?
I'm calling an Audible right now because
not a sponsor.
I sent you this quote the other day, and I think it's worthwhile. And we'll love the source. You always got to love a good Abraham Lincoln quote, you know? That guy. I'm telling you.
The tall hat. Are you kidding me?
I'm telling you, man.
The beard. Did he have that mole? You always see moles on his impersonators. Was that a real mole, or is that just anecdotal? Is that just one of those things where like, we should give him a mole, it'll be more character, and then it just caught on with all the Abraham Lincoln impersonators? You know? Did he have a mole?
He did.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that.
Need to have that thing looked at. It looked irregular. That thing, the borders were they're problematic to me.
That's quite.
I know it's a little bit late to have him. He have it checked out, but I'm saying like, Abe.
It is a little late. Yeah, I think maybe you should have said something back then, Johnny.
Yeah.
All right, that's in. Look at that. Hey, that's professionalism. We did that in real time. Johnny, it's that time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's my quote of the week. The segment we call They Talked About That. Abraham Lincoln.
Oh, good.
Shocker. It's kind of long, but it's worth it.
Okay.
If you would win a man to your cause, first convince him that you are his sincere friend. Therein is a drop of honey that catches his heart, which, say what he will, is the great highroad to his reason, and which, when once gained, you will find but little trouble in convincing his judgment of the justice of your cause. On the contrary, assume to dictate to his judgment or to command his action or to mark him as one to be shunned and despised, and he will retreat within himself, close all the avenues to his head and his heart, and though your cause be naked truth itself, transformed to the heaviest lance, harder than steel and sharper than steel can be made, and though you throw it with more than Herculean force and precision, you shall no more be able to pierce him than to penetrate the hard shell of a tortoise with a rye straw. Such is man, and so must be understood by those who would lead him. I mean, the days of the orator. You know what I'm saying?
Come on, man.
My goodness. If you read Abraham Lincoln's speeches and what they would do, the Lincoln-Douglas debates, and I mean, it's just, it's funny, my friend Jeff McCord, I was having lunch with him yesterday, and he was like, we're watching right now? He's like, West Wing. I was like, no way, we're watching West Wing too. And he said the same thing. He goes, I almost weep every day just hearing the good dialogue and conversation among people of intelligence trying to work through problems together. So anyway, that's the one thing. But the idea, and I just wrote an article that hasn't been published yet, that is dealing with some difficult topics in America right now. Mm-hmm. And I really thought of this quote a lot. And even I think of the book, The Anatomy of Peace by the Arbiter Institute. And we talk about it a lot on the podcast. The idea that people can tell your way of being towards them. Like, you don't even have to necessarily say everything, but they certainly when you speak, they can tell. But your way of being, and if they can tell your heart or their heart towards you, your heart towards them is at war. That's the language that they use. Then everything that they say or do will be interpreted as an act of war. And I have one example I can't share here because it's a private pastoral thing, but there is examples of like me being literally trying to save someone's life, but when their heart's at war towards me, it's somehow twisted into like an act of aggression. Yeah, in a way that I can't even I can't understand what it is that they're thinking about it. And I've seen that in lots of counseling situations. I mean, so what you got to deal with is not just the action, but what is the heart. And so like in the article I just wrote, I went back and rewrote some of the ending of it because I want to have a heart at peace, right? And Abraham Lincoln's quote here can seem almost a little manipulative, a little Machiavellian, in that here's how you get what you want from people. But I don't think I think this is why, and if you struggle with Lincoln in history, it's that he was, for a long time, he was not an abolitionist by any stretch, right?
He's more pragmatic about slavery. Right.
What he did not want is slavery to spread to the Western territories, right, the new Western territories. But he made a promise not to end it in the South when they got elected. He was like, I'm not going to end this. It's going to keep it from spreading. So basically, he was going to let them remain the status quo as long as the South didn't expand their power, which is very today. Back then, that's a common, especially among Whigs. I mean, that's a common Whigs, a common take. He also was one who believed in colonization, recolonizing the African Americans to like Liberia was one of the main places, and they did send some people to Liberia. But he thought we're never going to have peace. Like we're not ever going to get there. You know, we're not going to change because he, I think, was a student of people's hearts.
Yeah.
You know, and so for him, you get what he's saying a little bit of why. I mean, he would drive more of the progressives and radicals of his own party crazy because he would stay in the middle so much on an obvious issue. And he hated slavery. That's one thing. I mean, in his personal writings, he didn't like it. This is his like pragmatic political approach to what can actually be done. But he really did try to make a friend of the South. Like what he's saying here, I believe he tried to do. But man, on the contrary, assumed to dictate to his judgment or command his action or mark him as one to be shunned and despised. Ooh. I mean, that's every bit of American discourse right now. And
right.
I don't know how to get out of that cycle because you said something to me yesterday or today. You were like, yeah, if the thing you're writing or the thing that you're saying is someone's interpreting as your correction or you're telling them they should see something different or that they're thinking wrongly, you've already lost them.
Yeah.
Right. And so I think maybe that's not just a modern thing. This is happening in the 1860s as well. But I don't know. I think that's, you know, I want to be the guy that I want to be friends. I want to be. That's why at the end of the article I wrote, hey, what if we all were like the Bereans, you know, in Acts chapter, I don't remember the chapter, Johnny.
It's one of them.
Yeah.
It's in there.
But they come there and Paul says stuff that's hard for the Jewish people to hear, just like other cities, but instead of stoning him, they decided to all sit together and see if the scriptures bear out what he's saying. As they studied it, he called them fair-minded. Like a fair-minded person is not one that gives in so easily. It's one that says, okay, I'll sit and talk about this. Let's do it in a way that doesn't destroy.
Talk about this, it's a different
podcast. Not a sponsor, but anyway, Abe Lincoln.
That guy's going places as long as he has that mole like that.
Yeah.
By the way, how would you become a patron of our fine podcast? How would you find other episodes of the podcast, John?
You go to talkaboutthatpodcast.com.
Click on the upper right-hand link if you want to get ad-free content. We love our sponsors, but if you want a show with no ads, that's how you get it. We love our patrons. Thanks so much for contributing to the show. Help us keep the lights on here. If you want to send us a note, go to hello. Send a message. Construct an email. And
Correct. When he said note, if you just take a note out.
No, we won't get
you
that.
write hello on it and just throw it into the ether.
That's different. Get a carrier pigeon or something.
Right.
Hello at talkaboutthatpodcast.com. Are carrier pigeons still trained and used?
I don't know, but they were a big deal like in World War I and II.
Yeah, man. They saved, wasn't there a whole thing we read on one of the This Week in Histories was like a carrier pigeon like saved an entire squadron because the war, the hostilities had ended, but they didn't know, and so they were getting ready to whatever. And the carrier pigeon goes, wait, whatever.
He said, wait.
The bird had a little, I imagine the bird had a little helmet on.
Yeah.
That's just how I see it.
Yeah.
Probably not.
You got to think, did they fly into battle? You know what I'm saying? I'm sure they did.
That's.
What if someone's just like shooting at the enemy and they're like, look, a pigeon, and they just start shooting it, thinking they're back home or something?
I think we would say, did the pigeon start shooting at them?
Get down! There's the pigeon.
Anyway, John, let's do my segment. So let's start with Johnny's old jokes. We call a joke about that. We'll stay with the animal theme with this. Only got one this week, John. So just this better land. This better land.
Yeah.
How do you tell the gender of an ant? Well, John, you drop it in water. If it sinks, girl ant. If it floats,
boy ant.
Thank you, John. John, let's do This Week in History.
Oh, wow.
We call it Talk About Then. Boy ant. Is this thing on?
What is this?
John, this week, 1888, even farther back, 100 years, some would say, the Eastman Kodak Company is founded. The Kodak camera was soon introduced with the slogan, "You press the button, we do the rest." In 1879, founder George Eastman had invented an emulsion coating machine, which enabled him to mass-produce photographic dry plates, and he began selling them in 1880 in New York. Before dry plates, wet plates had to be coated, immediately exposed, and then developed while still wet. Dry plates could be exposed and then developed later, so that's how we got the whole film developing little huts that you would drop off your stuff. People now don't remember this era. The most interesting thing about Kodak, and I can't remember exactly where I read this, but they basically had a chance to get in on digital photography and were like, no.
That'll never work.
Because they thought, we're killing the film business that we're making all this money on. if we help this thing along. And they don't know if they thought it was a fad, but they thought it's almost like people that didn't want electric cars because they were like, it'll kill the gas industry or whatever.
Hey, listen, I'm seeing it. I got on a call with a publisher the other day, and I always use my Fathom AI note taker on Zoom calls.
Yeah.
And they literally, and the people are friends, and they were like, hey, the new company policy is we can't use AI to record any of these calls now. I was like, wow. And then if the contracts, are like no AI.
They're kind of scouting out any writing that's been done with an AI.
Yeah. And I don't blame them to some extent.
Right.
But how much of it is preservation and how much of it is preservation of good writing, right? And of good thoughts. But I don't know.
Yeah, it's weird to think about. But here we are. I think every generation is dealing with that to some degree of like you're trying to have progress, but you're also trying to like preserve a way of life. And if you're in business, you're like, this could undercut. But if they had just said we're going to be the Kodak film, but we're going to develop it a digital camera, we're going to whatever, they could have been the number one digital
not
whatever.
Not to be, I guess, apocalyptic or anything, but the one that seems different about this particular advancement in technology is that it deals with the either existence or acceptance of truth. That's what it can say something, show you something that you now believe is real or true, and it never happened. Like I literally watched a podcast on a podcast interview between Jesus and the Easter Bunny, and I swear to you, I didn't believe it was real, Johnny.
No.
But if in an alternate universe, it'd be like, that's really happening. It was so real looking.
Yeah.
So.
No, it's wild. No, you're right about that. The AI stuff is dangerous more so than anything else because it has the ability to construct its own reality. And plus, there's many examples of these AI programs telling lies and are giving false stories, and you just go, okay.
Chat does it all the time.
It'll deceive.
I have to check everything Chat does.
Yeah, it's weird to think about.
But if you're listening and you lead Kodak in some way, don't miss the AI train. Like, I would get on board. Learn from your mistakes. You know what I'm saying?
Have that mole looked at. Yeah. John, the Library of Congress is founded in 1800. This week, 1800, when U.S. President, you want to say, guess who the...
1800?
1800.
That's Thomas Jefferson.
John Adams.
Oh, sorry. Must have been the end of Jefferson.
Wow,
Adams.
you want to be my history teacher.
I guess Jefferson didn't start until 1801. He was elected at 1800.
He signed an act of Congress that appropriated a certain amount for the purchase of such books as may be necessary for the use of Congress and for fitting up a suitable apartment for containing them. That was the quote. How much do you think he appropriated for the purchase of these books that were going to be the original Library of Congress in an apartment, basically?
$50,000.
$5,000.
You're kidding.
Then the books were ordered from London, forming a collection of 740 books and 3 maps housed in the United States Capitol. During the War of 1812, British troops burned several government buildings, including the Library of Congress, resulting in the destruction of over 3,000 of its volumes. By then it had grown, I guess, because it started with 740. So 3,000 of its volumes were destroyed in this fire. Former U.S. President Thomas Jefferson...
it was his library that really
then sold his private collection of 6,487 books to the government for...
$50,000.
$23,950.
Well, he needed the money.
Sure.
Yeah.
Monticello isn't going to fix up itself.
That's right.
He had renovations to be done, probably. I don't know. Shout out to Thomas Jefferson. TJ is what I call him. John, this week, 1184 BC. We're going way back with this one. The Greeks enter Troy hidden inside a giant wooden horse. Now, I immediately looked this up because I think we've had this an iteration of this one on the pod before.
Yeah.
And we kind of wondered, like, is the Trojan horse a myth?
Yeah.
Or is it a real story? Or is it a mix of both? And literally I read an article before we started from a adjunct professor of literature in Sydney, in history, in Sydney, Australia. And she basically, it was a 5-page article. And by the end of it, she was like, no one really knows.
Wow.
It's mixed results of because it was so long of a time between the Trojan War and the first written accounts of it that you can get myth and you can get all these things in there.
Yeah.
Which is one of the reasons that people believe in the veracity of the Gospels is there was a shorter time frame for myth and...
In their own lifetime, they're dying for it, right?
Right, yeah. But anyway, for the Trojan War, it's like people really... But it said the hallmarks of the story and it's such a valuable story for human culture that it's remained because it has so many cool elements to it. And it's kind of one of those, like, don't let somebody be a Trojan horse in your life. Don't let somebody sneak in under the guise of this. It has
or a literal Trojan horse. If they come to your front yard with a big wooden horse, it's probably not a gift.
Be careful of Greeks,
it's a cautionary tale.
Greeks
really.
bearing gifts. That's what I've always been told.
Yeah.
John, this week, 1771, the highest recorded tidal wave off Ishigaki Island in the Ryukyu chain.
Yeah, of course.
Do you want to take a guess on how tall?
I don't know.
The highest? 278 feet, John.
Ooh.
That's not...
Ooh.
You're not making it out of that. You're not surfing that. John, this week...
278 feet.
270 feet. 278 feet.
That's like... How tall is the Statue of Liberty? Or the Washington Monument?
I don't know.
There's no way to know.
Google, you ask your Siri.
It's all the way over here.
Well, does that even help you, though? How many times have you seen the Statue of Liberty and been like, I wonder how many? Is that your gauge of height?
Well, yeah, you've stood at the bottom of it before and looked up, haven't you?
I don't know.
By the way, you know what I'm not using?
When you look at Yao Ming playing basketball, you're like, he's 1/10 of a Statue of Liberty. Like, is that your known...
Johnny, I think it's a pretty valid... It's going to tell me... You know who I'm asking? I'm not asking chat.
Okay.
I don't talk to chat much anymore.
Oh, really?
I'm now
you
using...
guys are on a little...
That's 151 feet high.
Okay, so it's almost 2 Statue of Liberties high.
What about the Washington Monument?
What about it?
I wonder how tall it is.
Okay.
It is 555 feet.
Okay, so
it's not as
about
tall
half.
as the Washington.
It's about half as tall as
imagine that the Statue of Liberty and the Washington Monument were unrelated to each other. And this was a different thing.
John, this week, 1980, in an attempt to cheat the system, I watched a documentary on this, fascinating. The host of the Pennsylvania Lottery had weighted certain ping pong balls. This is when they had the ping pong balls all running around. So they weighted certain ping pong balls to increase the probability that 4s and 6s, they chose the 4s and the 6s because they didn't want it to be just one number, just in case, so it would look a little random. So they took the 4s and the 6s and they injected, it didn't say this in the story, but I remember this from the documentary. How they weighted them was they injected paint, white paint, because the ping pong balls were white. And so it weighted down several of the balls. And so they would fall to the reservoir when they're blown around. They blew around a little bit, so it was enough weight to where they would kind of look like they were dancing.
It's a dangerous
game.
They
would fall in. It came up 666.
Oh.
So none of the 4s landed. So it comes up 6, but they had bet on like 464, 646, 666, 444. So they bet all these options. So there's a film about it starring John Travolta, Lisa Kudrow in 2000. It's called Lucky Numbers, loosely based on the event. And it made me think, like, are you a lottery person? Did you ever do
I've played before.
Do you play often, though?
No.
Would you say that you have a problem?
You know what? Here's the thing.
Okay.
I went to another state the other day on a volleyball trip or something.
And to purchase a gun.
You could buy lottery tickets with your credit card there.
Yes.
And so...
wait a minute. Wait, what?
Yeah.
Can you not do that here?
No. That's the only reason I don't play the lottery much is it requires cash, and who's got time? You know what I'm saying? But there, yeah.
And you were flush with cash. You're like, I got to launder this somehow.
So yeah, if it took credit cards, I'd probably play more.
Really?
Yeah.
Because it's just easy to.
Which is it's what you want.
Yeah.
You want to be going.
You want it to be easy to lose that
borrowed money to put the lottery on the. Didn't Ramsey call it the stupid tax or whatever? Was that the lottery?
It's stupid. He says stupid tax a lot, but yeah, basically it's a. I don't know. Yeah, it's like it's a stupid tax for sure. But it's okay. I mean, I don't know. But some people play it just for fun. They do one ticket a week or something. It's no big deal.
One or 20.
Moderation.
One a year maybe for me.
Yeah. One a year. You're never going to win with that attitude, John.
No.
Don't you know somebody that's won?
I've known some people.
Yeah. We don't have to talk about it.
Yeah, I've known some people.
But I think you have.
It makes me think that I should play, but.
Yeah. Was it Power? What did they win? Powerball?
I don't know.
You don't know what it was? Mm-mm. You don't know the amount?
No.
Wow.
I'm not supposed to know anything.
Wow.
So.
Look at you.
Yeah.
Did they tithe?
I don't know that. I'm not supposed to know anything.
Wow. What's my cut? That's all I need to know.
Johnny.
Whenever I meet somebody and they say, this is my such and such, and this is my third cousin, I go, oh, hey, John, this is my third cousin. She's in town. I go, oh, what does that make me? I always want to ask that.
Who introduces someone as their third cousin?
I don't know.
You just say cousin, wouldn't you?
What am I? I don't know. You're nothing. We just met.
Yeah.
John, this week, Gideon Sunback was born in 1880. He invented a little invention we call
the Gideon Bible. Oh, wait, sorry.
the zipper.
Oh.
He invented...
What year was he born?
He was born in 1880. He was died in 1954, so he had a nice long life. He invented the modern zipper in 1917.
Wow.
So he would have been 37.
That was the year that...
Swedish-American electric... He was an electrical engineer. He wasn't even a mechanical engineer. He was just like... I don't know what made him think of zippers. But this week in 1880, he was born. This week in 1982, a young Johnny was laughed at by my schoolmates for having my zipper down. Circle of life. How you like that? Wasn't that the worst day of your life when you had your fly down? You're like, You kidding me?
I think the greatest thing I think I told the story before. It wasn't a zipper, but my cousin was a singer, and he was singing on stage. And he was like a big-time singer in the Southern gospel world. Like, he was pretty well-known. And for some reason, his belt just fell off of him. I don't know what happened. And so he knew it happened. He was behind the pulpit.
But his pants didn't fall down?
No. Somehow his belt just, I don't know, if like all the loops broke at once or if he just missed, I don't know what happened.
Good grief.
Belt falls, but he's safe because no one saw it except the people behind him.
Yeah.
And they're all watching. So my mom walks up as the song's over and reaches down and picks up the belt and hands it to him in front of everybody just to mess with him.
This
Mom, that was pretty cool.
A Pentecostal church. They're probably like, it's a snake. They're like, everybody runs. We got a live one.
Judy's giving it to Steve.
It's just limp there. I don't know what's going on. I knew they drugged these snakes. They got to. There's no way these snakes are real. That's so funny. His belt just fell off.
Yeah.
There was a guy that opened for Nate. And, when you open for Nate, it's in these arenas. There's a camera on you, and it's zoomed in. There's these gigantic screens, and 20,000 people are watching. And he did his whole set with his fly down.
No.
He realized, it's 8-minute set. He realized, 7 minutes in.
Did he do it? Did he fix it?
He fixed it and then made his whole last minute was about, well, this will be a nice story for the...
I think I preached one time. I think I was behind a music stand or something, but I'm so paranoid about it.
Yeah.
If I walk into any sort of room at all, I usually have ways to check, you know what I'm saying? Without being obvious. I wonder if my fly's down.
How do you check without being obvious?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I was like, don't say, hey, look, I don't just reach down and start filling for my zipper. You know what I'm saying?
Everybody.
What's that guy doing? Guys, I'm saying check. You find a way.
Check. Yeah,
it's important.
On. I mean, but there's worse things in life than being embarrassed.
No.
Come on, man. You can bounce.
I can't think of any.
Right back. Speaking of being embarrassed in front of people, John, I've got shows coming up I wanted to talk about because we never really promote shows.
We never talk about shows.
But I'm saying we say, hey, Johnny's got shows. But I'm saying I literally have a show. If you're anywhere near Houston, Texas, come see me. Huntsville, Texas, about an hour north of Houston, May 17th. Tickets still available. It's the Old Town Theater. I guess it's on Old Town Road, if I was to guess. Probably not.
Yeah,
Take my horse to the Trojan horse. May 17th, though, John. Get your tickets now at JonnieW.com.
That's JONNIE, guys.
Yeah, no H.
Yeah. Don't spell it like a normal Johnny.
Don't.
Johnny's not a normal Johnny.
No.
Let me tell you.
Something's wrong.
If you really knew Johnny like I knew, no. Sounds like I was about to take you out. Then you would know that Johnny's mom hated him being called Johnny.
That's true.
She'd get all over you.
She would get upset.
I called him Johnny, I did not name him Johnny.
Yeah.
So, and then he went and made a career disobeying his mother. So, hey, that's good. That's what you want to do. I wonder why it's not taking off.
I don't know.
God can't honor that.
It's true. I'm sorry, Mom. But Mom would want you to come to the show. I think if she was here right now.
Yeah.
She's not. She's long gone, y'all. But if she was here, and I think she's looking down, and what she would say to you is, go to the website.
Right.
You can type in Jonathan W.
Well, the first thing she said is,
not going to take
what's a website?
First she would say, what's a website? And she would say, she would probably be like, there's no way you're making a living at this. Please get a regular job.
Someone help my boy.
Please, somebody go help him.
Yeah.
Yeah. Talk some sense into him.
She
would say, is this a GoFundMe? No, she wouldn't know what a GoFundMe is.
Right.
I don't know. But yeah, she would want you to come. She would want you to help her boy.
One of my favorite things ever was when, God, I laugh every time. We had our first CD out.
Yeah.
And you were like, Mom, there's a bunch of kids who are burning it.
Yeah.
And she was like, burning it? Why are they being so mean?
Yeah.
Because she thought...
Yeah. Because we were like, we can sell CDs, but most kids in our church audience, they just have a bunch of burned CDs. They burn CDs, and she thought, she was literally imagining, like when we used to bring our rock music down
they're
and burn
gathering
it.
around scarlet threads of CDs and just burning them just in protest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, we're not popular even enough for that.
Well, in retrospect, the first CD, that's what you should have done to it.
You should have burned it.
Right. But not in the good way. But there was better ones that came.
They came along.
Yeah.
Much, much later. And now, CDs are...
Yeah.
Maybe they'll come back, though, as like a relic.
You've listened to the Switchfoot 25th anniversary of Beautiful Letdown, right?
Yes.
Have you heard him tell the story in the middle? So they're playing Beautiful Letdown behind him, just like the...
Yeah.
They got a bass player. It's just unbelievable. And he tells the whole story. He's like, this is the story of a band from San Diego that came up to L.A. and... recorded this album in a week and a half. By the way, a week and a half.
Right.
Which means they knew it really well. Did a Beautiful Letdown. He said, somehow against all odds, we got signed to this major label. They fly us to New York to play it for all the executives. And we're in this tall building and we're in front of all the suits and we play a song and a half. And the guy who's in charge of everything says, and he pauses, I hate it. They're done. Mm-hmm. He said, and that was the greatest gift ever. And he's like, hand me that thing. And they hand him one of the, I guess, things that hangs on the wall or whatever that tells you how many CDs. He goes, then you guys started burning this thing left and right and passing it around to all your friends. And it went like some crazy, stupid double platinum or something.
But how does it go platinum on burn?
That's what
I've
I was
heard him
thinking.
tell that story, but I was like, what does that even... I guess for everybody that's burning it, that means somebody else is buying it. Like, you can't outrun, like, people are still buying it.
It's information getting spread.
Yeah.
Right. It's so, yeah. So, but he's so funny. He's like, this is y'all's album. He was like, you're the ones who made it because it got rejected by the industry, basically. And then... But I was with you. It's like back then people were trying to stop burning, but if people want to hear your music, it eventually, Johnny, is probably going to flow back to you in some way.
People think of music now as something you share, not something you buy.
Right.
And luckily they're going to comedy shows, but I do think that comedy is also something that's being shared more than it's being purchased. More than it's being purchased.
Well, sure, because social media.
Yeah, social media and sharing reels. Like I have, 500,000 followers on Facebook and Insta. And I think a lot of them are just like, thanks for the clip. What else?
Right.
They're not like, I can't wait to get to a show. But let me just say, comedy is so much more fun live.
It is.
Come to a show. I think you're going to enjoy it.
I think you guys will.
And
if you don't, he'll give you money back. What? It's right there on his website, JonnieW.com.
Don't hold me to that. I need that money. I've already spent it, some would say. Yeah, it's going to be fun. But hopefully I'll see you out of the show and we enjoy what we do.
Yeah, if you're a podcast listener, come say hi to him at the table. It always means a lot to us.
I got buttons now.
Oh,
I don't have to talk about that buttons yet, but I'm going to make some. Now that you told me that, I'm going to make some talk about that buttons because I got a little button maker and makes little
Bantertown button,
bottle cap pins. Mm-hmm. And I got one that says bacon is like a hug from Jesus. I got one that says I don't speak Latin per se. I made up a couple of little JW little pick logo. Anyway, they're fun little buttons.
Yeah.
And you can come get one and say hello and make direct eye contact with me. That'd be great.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Yeah. Well, guys, thanks for the time you gave us today. It was a lot of fun. Let's do it again, Johnny, next week. You're on.
Talk about that.